Whoa, 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 whoa. Listen, there are there are lots of great and there are lots of talented pirates in this era, right? You can think of Strawhat Luffy, Roronoa Zoro, Blackbeard, even the ones who are not necessarily pirates, right? But who are still powerful people, whether it be on the marine side with Kobe, Akainu, Kizaru, all those guys, or even the revolutionaries. There are lots of powerhouses in the new era, but I think they don't hold a candle to what existed before them. Before the great era, like that was a whole different ball game, bro. Like when you think of Roger, when you think of Garp, when you think of Rocks, Whitebeard, Shiki, when you think of people like Oden, that's a whole different ball game, bro. Like, and one illustration of this is the fact that when you take a guy like Scoper Gaban, who was allegedly number three or number two, depending on who you ask, on Roger's crew, even now that he's way past his prime, he's still out here laying them down. He's still out here niggas up. Even though he's in his 70s or his 80s or whatever, that should tell you something. That should tell you that the old generation, they were not for play play. And this chapter is a prime example of that. In this chapter, we can see in 4K why the old generation was not for play play. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. One Piece chapter 1156, One Piece chapter 1156, titled Idols. Yeah, yeah, yeah. These are the idols that will not become rivals. Yeah, I'm afraid. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because they were just on a different level. I doubt that this generation will ever be able to match the previous one because it just seems like they were built different. Like, do you realize these niggas make Kaido look like a trouble? Now, granted, this was before Kaido's prime, right? This was before Kaido entered his prime. Because at the time, he was maybe a teenager or in his early 20s, probably. But still, like one example that illustrates how the old generation was so much stronger than the current generation is how Kaido is treated by Rocks, bro. Rocks is just bossing Kaido around like Kaido is the 15th on an NBA roster, bro. I'm like, bro, this is someone that will eventually become the strongest creature on earth. And Rocks is just out here just treating him like light work. And I'm like, make this make sense. Like, listen, man, the old timers, yeah, the old timers, they're on a different time. They're on a different time, for sure, for sure. So the flashback continues, and we witness a raid by the Kuja pirates from Amazon Lily. Gloriosa, who was the captain and the empress at the time, she's doing her thing. She's walking around, turning heads, stunningly beautiful and all that. Everywhere she goes, people fall in love with her instantly. And of course, her mail is flooded with love letters. Because, she's allegedly the most beautiful woman in the world. She probably ate that devil fruit that makes people fall in love with her too. And she probably receives love letters from all over the world. But we are told that even though she's flooded with love letters, even though she's flooded with proposals, she is nowhere near Shaki. Bro, Shaki is that nigga. Shaki is the man. Shaki has a freaking mountain of love letters that she's receiving from people all over the world. And she hasn't even entered her prime yet. She's probably in her early 20s at this point. So she haven't even entered her true prime. Of course, she will go on to become the empress of Amazon Lily and all that stuff. But this is before all that. Like she already had that fire before all that. And as if that wasn't enough, who pulls up? None other than the Rogers Pirates. Yes, Roger and his crew, they pull up. And you would think that, Roger being the future pirate king, because at this point, he's yet to be the pirate king. But, he's on his way. Obviously, he's already a notable pirate. He's already well known all over the seas. He's respected. He's one of the strongest people in the world. So you would think that, for example, just like Luffy didn't pay any mind to Boa Hancock, you would think that Roger wouldn't pay any mind to the shorties from Amazon Lily, but nah. He is head over heels for Shaki. And by the way, Gloriosa is the one that loves him. Gloriosa is the one that's in love with him, but of course, he doesn't pay any mind. He completely ignores her and she's mad about it. She's completely heartbroken, which is understandable. And everybody, even on Roger's crew, Even Scorpio Gaban, they all have eyes for Shaki, bro. It's crazy. And Shaki is able to best Scorpio Gaban and Roger. Let me say it again. Shaki was able to best Scorpio Gaban and Roger. Shaki was able to best the man that will go on to become the Pirate King and his right or his left hand. One question that I've been asking myself as of late is Oda starting an anti-Roger agenda? Because that's what it seems like. Since the beginning of One Piece, Roger has always been the recipient of some of the most aggressive aura farming that Oda could offer. Like, you can argue that One Piece is just an aura farming story for Roger. At every point in the story, every time something happened in the story, it was always like, yo, this is amazing. But you know who did this before? Goldie Roger. Yo, this was nice. But you know who did it better? Goldie Roger. Yo, this enemy is super strong and we can't defeat him. But you know who defeated him? Goldie Roger. That's how the story was treating Roger. But for the past couple of chapters, it seems like Oda has completely switched gears. Oda has done a complete 180 and now he is shitting on Roger. Now it seems like it's time for reverse aura farming. It's time for anti-glazing, reverse glazing. Because the kind of positions, pause, that Oda is putting Rogers in are not favorable for Roger. In the previous chapter, he was counting the exploits and the adventures of Rocks. That pretty much made Roger seem like he was some G League player. And now you are showing us how Shaki made easy work of Roger. Anyways, I have to do a video about the anti-Roger agenda, but we have some more pressing matters to get to, so let's continue. Like I said, everybody is falling for Shaki except one guy. And guess who the guy is? Guess who is the only guy that looks like he wasn't crazy about Shaki? Yes, it was Rayleigh. It was none other than Silver's Rayleigh. The only person that wasn't overwhelmed by Shaki's beauty was Rayleigh. And that's kind of probably the reason why they'll end up together. Probably because he was the only one that was able to earn her respect, right? It was like, who is this man who isn't falling for me? Who is this guy who isn't crazy about me? You are strange. Now, is Oda trying to tell us something here? Is Oda trying to teach us a lesson about relationships? Relationship Oda? Listen, man. Relationship guru Eiichiro Oda is talking to us. So, guys, take heed. Take heed to what the master is saying. And as if that wasn't enough, you know who else joins? We already have the Kuja Pirates. We already have the Roger Pirates. And as if that wasn't enough, none other than Garp pulls up. You know, Garp and Roger are like water and sodium. Wherever one goes, the other one follows. So, no wonder Monkey D. Dragon hates his father because his father was never around. Because his father was obsessed with trying to capture Roger. I get it. I get it. I get it. So, Garp arrives, and of course, there is a little scuffle, a little fight between Roger and Garp. And oh my god, when this happens in the anime, when Kamusari or whatever the thing was called and Galaxy Impact collide with each other in the anime, that's going to break the internet. Like, are you kidding me? Goldie Roger using Kamusari and Garb using Galaxy Impact at full strength, going at each other. Oh my god. Now, one thing that I want to know, was everything within a 5 kilometer radius blown away? Yeah, that's a very important question. I want to know if everything within a 5 kilometer radius was blown away. Because we are not going to allow the anti-Roger agenda to continue. We need to prove these motherfuckers that anything that Rocks can do, Roger can do better. So please, Oda, we need the details. Tell us if everything within a 5 kilometer radius was blown away. Because when Harald and Rocks collided at Marijois, that's what you said. So we need to know that the same thing happened here, or even more. Because we are not going to allow the anti-Roger agenda over here. No Roger slandering over here, please. No, no, no. We're not doing that. We then come back to Elbaf and we see Harald, trying to manage his family, trying to manage his household. He's hanging out with both of his children and his baby moms. And, as usual, The conversation is about Loki's antics. Loki stays going rogue, going up and down, destroying shit left and right. And we see that Ida, so Hasrudin's mom, she's actually very kind with Loki. Like she's trying to take care of him, shelter him, love him like an actual mom. But of course, Loki being the devil that he is, and Loki being as dysfunctional as he is, he's not having any of that. At least on the surface. Maybe deep down, he's actually happy that she cares for him. But he's not going to show it like outward, obviously. But Ida is a good person and she doesn't care, so she embraces him regardless, and it's very wholesome to see like that kind of family vibe, that kind of family dynamic happening between the four of them. And due to the friendship that Rox had with Harald, we are told that Rox actually came to Elbaf multiple times, and every single time he came, he attempted to recruit Harald, and Harald always said no. And of course, Loki was always trying to get recruited. He was like, yo, draft me, let me come with you, recruit me. I'm the man. I'm the real deal. My dad is a bitch ass. He probably was like, Leon, shut the fuck up. So Loki had an obsession with rocks, the same way that Luffy has an obsession with Shanks. So that parallel is pretty clear. We then move to Hachinosu, Pirate Islands, and we see Silver Axe joining the Rocks Pirates. We see the organization of the Rocks Pirates just in general, and how they are scheming and plotting how they are going to take over the world, right? Basically laying down the foundation for what will eventually become the God Valley incident. We are told that Rox is after two devil fruits. The first one is on Elbaf, and apparently it can only be used by a giant. So Harald has to eat that fruit in order for Rox's plan to happen the way it's supposed to happen. Now, why can that devil fruit be only optimally be used by a giant? That we don't know, and that's quite an interesting question. Is it because that fruit is too powerful and giants and their natural powers are the only people that can kind of naturally tame the fruits? I don't know. I'm sure the guys who do One Piece theories will be more than happy to explain that to us. And I'm assuming this was also the fruit that Loki was talking about and the fruit that he allegedly ate. That will make sense. Now, the question is, what is the second devil fruit though? Because they go on to talk about the giant ship rice from Elbaf. But we know that the giant shipwrights are probably dead. And we also know that even though they are presumed dead, their bodies might still be conserved because they are the ones that are frozen at Punk Hazard, allegedly. So, could it be a devil fruit that can bring dead people back to life? Or a devil fruit that can turn corpses into zombies, i.e., Gecko Moria's devil fruit? Could it be something like that? Is he after that fruit? Why does he want to resurrect the giant shipwrights? Is it because he wants to build a certain ship to go to a certain place? And does this have something to do with his trip at Marijuas and his encounter with Imsama? Probably, probably. But how is all of this tied? That's more so the question I'm asking myself at this point. And more importantly, why are the giants so important in the grand scheme of things? Like, this is something that even the world government has said. Even Imsam has said, he has said that the Giants will play an important part in the final battle, and the side that they choose to join will greatly influence how the battle will ensue. And it seems like the power of the Giants goes way beyond just their physical power. It seems like there's something else. Also, other than the fact that, of course, their library and their history contains a lot of information, possibly about the voice century, possibly about a whole bunch of things that the world government doesn't necessarily want to be out there. But I think Oda needs to shine more light on that. Like, why are the giants so special? Apart from their size, of course. Like, apart from the fact that they are gigantic and enormous, do they have some other kind of power that makes them special? Because it seems like every big player in the history of One Piece, whether it was Roger, whether it was Rocks, whether it's Luffy now, whether it's the world government, Joy Boy, Nika, they all in some way were tied to the Giants, and they all in some way wanted to have an alliance with the Giants. So it seems like Elbaf is a key, or at least one of the keys to unraveling the world's darkest mysteries. So why is that the case? I hope we find out. And again, those who do theories, please have fun. Tell us. Tell us. 90% of the theories are probably going to be bullshit, you know. We will be entertained anyway. And since we are still within the arc of Elbaf, I hope we'll get those answers. Because even though we are now lost in the flashback, we are still within the Elbaf arc. So I'm assuming that we will sooner or later get these answers within this arc. I also like the fact that when Kaido suggested that maybe they should jump Harald, Rox was like, nigga, shut the and he started pressing Kaido. So that shows that there is a mutual respect between Rox and Harald. And if someone like Harald deeply loves and respects Rox, that means Rox is not the devil that some people want us to believe that he is. That he might not be as evil as Blackbeard. And if he wasn't as evil as Blackbeard, why did Roger try to take him down? Why did Roger go as far as teaming up with the world government? Because Garb is basically a marine, so he works for the world government. Why did Garb go as far as teaming up with Garb to bring down Rox if Rox wasn't that evil? Was it just because Rox was a rival? I doubt. So that's another question that I think we should ask ourselves. That's pretty much everything I had to say. If I have anything more to add, I'll probably post another podcast. I know for the past two reviews I was absent and I'm so sorry. I was busy with a few things, but this week I've been able to record and post. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you were entertained. Please don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, follow on TikTok, share, comment, all that. I'll see you in the next podcast. And until then, take care. Peace.